Hey everyone, Shakarez here, back with another match analysis. Today, I wanted to briefly look at the final game of the series between the ROX Tigers and BBQ Olivers, Week 5 of the LCK. Today, we will be looking at jungle tracking and how ROX got a lead, snowballed off of it, and closed out the game in 23 minutes. Let's start with the draft. ROX start their first draft phase picking their jungler and what is likely to be both bot lane champions. Heavy emphasis on pick potential with Malzahar's Nethergrasp, Elise Cocoon, and Ashe's Enchanted Crystallized Arrow. BBQ also drafted bot lane and jungle, MF as the Malzahar counter, and top tier picks in Jhin and Kha'Zix. Moving into the second draft phase, ROX pinched the mid lane pool, while BBQ banned Cassiopeia and Thresh, possibly expecting a Malzahar flex, which would be weird given Mickey's pool, but that's another story. BBQ showed reluctance to blind pick top lane, going for the Taliyah instead. This opened up the option for Mickey to pick knowing the matchup he's picking into, and he busted out a personal best with his Zed, alongside a Shen pick for Shy. Now, with Shen and Zed, ROX have a solid 1-3-1 composition, and Zed can play aggressively whenever Stand United is available. In order for a 1-3-1 to function correctly, however, the composition absolutely needs to be ahead. ROX need to create leads through picks so they can effectively set up the 1-3-1. Let's move on to the game. Pretty standard level 1 for the most part. Both teams set up a line of scrimmage to scout for any offensive movements like invades. The idea by setting up like this is basically to be aware of any possible ward placements if any team moves forward. Now, at 1 minute and 8 seconds, Sangyun places this ward right here and moves up with Ki. BBQ spots this ward placement, but it does not matter. The idea here is that this ward can spot two things. It can spot BBQ if they move aggressively to the Tribrush, and it can spot BBQ's bot lane if they move up the river. By 1 minute 20, it becomes pretty obvious that Bless is starting on the top side of the map, as MF is in full vision of the Tigers in the bottom side. ROX's bot lane then initiate a blue buff invade. Notice how Mickey postures aggressively in lane to spot Taliyah as soon as possible. Once he does, Ki and Sangyun move towards the blue buff. Given that they have Malzahar, this becomes a very easy steal with his Voidlings. The one thing I would like to point out is that, in my opinion, Malzahar would have been able to use blue more efficiently, as he can take over the lane by spamming Voidlings and Malefic Visions. But how does ROX know they can invade? Well, as I mentioned before, it's obvious MF isn't leashing for the jungler, else she wouldn't be in lane. Aside from this, Bless did the exact same start in game 1, also on Kha'Zix, so it's very likely that ROX's staff noticed this and looked to exploit it, especially given how popular starting on Raptors is for some junglers. The word we talked about in the bot lane also helps ROX know if BBQ are aware of the invade or not. If BBQ's bot lane starts moving up, they can cancel the invade and go to lane. Now, it's important to look at both junglers' routes. Songwan on Elise the blue Gromp Wolves crosses to the other side and quickly moves in for the bottom side scuttle. He knows he's being spotted as Mickey Ping tempts ward. He then assumes, correctly, that Bless was just at Gromp. On the other side, Bless did Raptors, Wolves, and Gromp. Without blue buff, he can't keep up without going back, but he does correctly call Elise's next two camps with pings. It's important to note that you can track an enemy jungler by looking at his CS and figuring out what camps were down. Elise has 6 CS and was just seen at Scuttle, so BBQ know Elise fully cleared the topside jungle. Songkwan clears both camps and rapidly moves into the topside scuttle. Once again, he is spotted, but given Elise's fast clears, there's not much Bless can do. By showing himself to Songkwan, Bless gives away the fact that he is done red, and by showing his CS, tells ROX where he's going next as he moves to Krugs, the only camp he hasn't cleared. With his starting camp being figured out, it becomes relatively easy to figure out what Kha'Zix is going to do next. Rumble is punishing Shen in the top lane, and Taliyah is pushing in Zed, so the only real alternative for Bless here is to do Raptors again, move into the bottom side of the jungle, and either clear or look for a gank in the bottom lane, where ROX's bot lane is pushing. Okay, now let's see how ROX set up this invade. Songyun and Ki start pushing in bot lane to gain advantage on a rotation, and while Songwon moves in, Sangyun spots Bless with a hawk shot. Elise is never spotted, moves in, grabs the kill, and the big wolf. Ki then helps Songwon punish Bless further and takes the enemy Gromp. With Mickey hitting level 6 and with a fresh red buff, ROX forced a dive in the mid lane. No kills result out of this trade, but Tempt is forced to use both summoners, while ROX use Stand United. Let's take a look at the map here. Before invading, Songwon rushed the Tracker's Knife. When he moved in to invade the bottom side jungle, he dropped 2 wards to spot out Bless, one next to the jungle entrance and another on blue buff. As he moved to the top side jungle, he also dropped a ward in the Raptor's brush. From this moment until 7 minutes 30, ROX always have information on Bless's whereabouts, seriously limiting what he can do. It doesn't help that at 7 minutes 10, Crazy plays over aggressively and tries to steal blue buff without presence of his jungler or mid laner. ROX know this because they spotted the blue handoff in the other side of the map, and they quickly collapse on Rumble, grabbing another kill. With Rumble's flash down, Songwon moves to top lane once again to punish the summoner cooldown and kills Rumble once more. The game starts snowballing out of control and there's little Bless can do, so he becomes predictable. After fully clearing the jungle, he looks to move into ROX's topside jungle as Elise is spotted on the other side of the map. A ward placed earlier by Shy spots the move, and once again, Bless is punished. With good vision control from Songwon and Mickey in the bottom side river, Ki is allowed to roam to the mid lane unseen and grab a kill on Tempt. From here on out, the game snowballs completely out of control. With a man advantage, ROX force Ghost and Totoro out of lane and grab first brick gold. With this massive advantage, ROX starts setting up a crushing 1-3-1 and demolish BBQ in 23 minutes. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.